Alright, let's check out what's going on with FTX. So one of my Twitter followers and also one of my YouTube subscribers asked me to cover this token. So that's exactly what I'm going to do. If you are one of my subscribers, then feel free to ask me to cover any coin or token that you like. If I like the chart and I like the look of it, I'll give it a look over and put it on my channel for you. So jumping right into the content, we will start on the macro term. Let me just set this chart up. So see, so from down here to up here, I'll do it from here so I don't get confused with which fibs are which. So in the very macro term, we are above the 618. So it's not the worst setup, if I'm honest. It does look fairly decent. In the slightly more micro, or still very macro, because this is the weekly chart, this has been going on for a very long time, we have broken below the 618 and it looks like we're heading down to the 786. So we do have a big key area of support right here where the 786 is on this chart, on this fib to the right, and then this 618 is down here. So these line up really nicely. Let me drag that across, making sure I get the right level. Alright, bang. So what I'd say is this would really be your last line in the sand. If we were to have a mental bearish breakdown, it would be probably because we are breaking below this. Now what else do I see? So in the short term, let me come over to the short term. I reckon that's about a 10% drop. So if we were coming down here, oh, that's actually like almost a 14% drop. So looking at this objectively, it does look pretty nasty in the short term. This fib here has broken through these 618, and it looks like it's heading down very sharply to the 786. Now there is also quite a decent amount of selling volume in, and the fact that the RSI has dropped like a rock like this does not look good. Let me go through the daily RSI and see what normally happens when we drop like a rock. So in this time, we had a very big sell-off. So it looks like this could be a scenario like that, and we are only halfway through it. That would line up with my prediction that we'd be coming down 14%. If we look here, when we dropped like a rock, this lasted for quite a long time, and we came all the way down to 33. In this scenario over here, we also came down to 33. So far, looking at the RSI, it does seem like when it drops like a rock, we do head down very sharply. This was all pretty much sideways accumulation. When this did drop like a rock, you saw a massive cascade. When this dropped like a rock, I mean, that's pretty much all price action, and to be fair, we were holding the 200 days, so I'll ignore all of that as we are below the 200 day now, so the market settings are a little bit different. In my opinion, I think we really need to turn around like right now, otherwise we are going to be getting setting up for a 14% drop. Now we have chopped up to this pattern quite a few times. We did break below this 618 once. We back tested the 786. So I mean, all in all, to be fair, if we do break the 618, which is like another 13-14% drop, I would be estimating that we do have a 1.618 down here as well, which lines up with this previous wick here, so that is also another level that we can drop. So let me adjust to this. What I think is going to happen, least bearish scenario, we're at least going to come down another 11%. So personally for me, I wouldn't be touching this in the short term. Obviously that's not financial advice. Do bear in mind, I don't hold this coin or token. I'm pretty sure this is an exchange token or an exchange coin. Honestly, I don't know what this does. I'm just looking at this from a charting perspective. So my channel is all about TA, so I won't really bother to research what this actually is, because most of the time, or all the time, the news and the fundamentals are in the chart. So for example, you don't need to know the geopolitical news that's going on in the world right now with Russia and Ukraine. You can look at the charts and the markets reflect the news and what's going on. We are breaking down. We're having a bearish trend right now. Total crypto market cap's breaking down, and Bitcoin is breaking down. The dollar's going up, so we know that money is flowing out of risk assets. Gold is also flowing up, so we know that money is, once again, when the dollar and gold is going up, it means that money is flowing out of risk assets and flowing into risk off assets. So like I said, I don't need to know everything about this this token or this coin, whichever one it is. The news and everything is reflected in the chart, so I'm only going to be covering the charts. What I see is at least another 11 0.5-ish% drop. If we do lose this, you know, bar this kind of drop down here, we would be setting up for the 1.618. So as long as we hold this 1.618, which is, you know, a 23% drop, you know, we could be bouncing. We have back tested this region here. It will support here, resistance here, resistance, and then support here, resistance here, and then when we did get above it, we used it as support. So this 618 region here, this 786, this big orange box basically is a massive level that in my opinion we really ought to hold. I will give it the benefit of the doubt and say worst case scenario, you know, we could still bounce on the 1.618, which is down here at $30. So I would be sitting on the sidelines until we either do have a strong bounce from $30. If we do, you know, that might put us in for a nice long position. If we do break $30 though, on the flip side, which, you know, is quite likely because we have back tested this a few times, I will ignore the 2.618. In my opinion, I think we'd be coming down to the 786. And to be fair, this 786 here lines up nicely with the low we've got down here, and it also lines up nicely with the 2.618. So there's honestly so much confluence coming in with this chart. I mean, I've drawn these fibs and you can see all of these levels, all of these highs, these lows, supports, resistances, 618s and 786s. They all very much line up. Like, this is a very tight box here. And I shouldn't have said that, but yeah, this is a very like tight, you know, small rectangular box that we've got here. And I think once we do lose this, I'm not saying we will, but if we do lose this green line here on the 1.618, at least in my opinion, I'd be expecting, you know, almost a 35% drop. So I would personally be shorting if we did have a strong break below the $30 region. If we did, I'd probably have a 10x leverage short, and you know, I wouldn't have my take profits all the way down here, but say for example if we broke down, you know, 5% on a 10x leverage, that would be 50% profit. So I would be setting my stop loss at that point at, you know, 2.5% down, which meant that if it did come back and backtest this, worst case scenario, if it went off to the moon, I'd be walking away with a 25% profit. So I'll keep you updated on that, but only that is, you know, a hypothetical situation. We are still around this region, so like I said, as long as we do hold this big orange box here, I wouldn't freak out too much. But you know, the charts are kind of telling me that, you know, we are probably getting ready for a drop. So I will be keeping an eye on the 34 to 35 RSI as well. Hopefully that bottoms when we do reach this kind of orange box here. If it doesn't and we just keep dropping, then like I said, I think it is very likely that, you know, once we do break below this green box here at the 1.618, like I said, $30, $31 is your last line in the sand. Let's round it down to $30 to give it the benefit of the doubt. If we do break below $30, my next target would be $20, which is, like I said, a very steep drop, 35% pretty much. So that's all I see for FTX. Once again, none of this is financial advice. This is just my opinion on the market, and you've always got to do what's best for you. Peace.